Straight ahead on CCX News, a slice of Crystal's main retail area proposed for an overhaul. We'll show you what's in the works. Plus, service dogs who aren't service dogs, people who are abusing the privilege, and what lawmakers are trying to do about it. But first, a focus on school security. One local district plans to make improvements by next school year. CCX News starts right now. Rally against gun violence made its way to the state capitol Wednesday. An estimated 2,000 students took part. School security is not just top of mind in St. Paul, but in districts across the northwest suburbs. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Alexandra RENSLO.
And I'm Mike Johnson. At least 21 threats have been made at Minnesota schools in the past 3 weeks.
The Osseo School District is in the process of enhancing its own security measures in hopes of preventing tragedies like the one in Florida. Reporter SONYA has more.
All right, let's go on.
Providing a safe, secure learning environment at Brooklyn Middle STEAM School and schools across the district is a top priority.
I'm the coordinator of risk management and I oversee security and emergency preparedness for the district.
Former police officer David Mordock came on board about a year ago.
We have over 3,500 employees in the district and we work with all 3,500 employees to make it a priority for safety and security in our schools.
The district requires all doors to be locked except for the main entrance and requires everyone to wear employee or visitor badges.
We're also increasing the number of card access points we have in the district to help keep our building secure while giving staff an easy access in and out of that building.
In the next couple of months, Osseo is piloting a program that will make school entranceways more secure.
To where you would have to use an intercom system to be buzzed in to get into the main office, and then using a driver's license visitor management system.
The Osseo School District is also beefing up its security cameras. Brooklyn Middle School is one of several schools who recently got upgraded digital cameras.
It increases the picture quality. We've also increased the number of cameras in this building.
The district also rolled out a new active threat response drill this year.
We used the Department of Homeland Security run, hide, fight. That's what we used if we were to have an armed intruder in our school.
And there are some security features that are not visible to the public.
And we have buttons for panic alarms in our district to summon the police in an emergency situation. We have buttons to lock down our front doors in our buildings.
But ultimately, officials say it's people who can prevent possible threats. If you see something suspicious, say something. The district has an anonymous tip line on its webpage.
Right now, we do a lot in the district of how to respond to an active threat situation. We can do also a lot to actually prevent one of these tragedies from occurring as well.
In Brooklyn Park, SONYA GOINS, CCX News.
On Wednesday, Governor Dayton proposed spending $16 million for schools to make safety improvements and to help identify students at risk of becoming violent, including those who are expelled from classes. In other news, it appears people are taking advantage of lax laws regarding service animals that are meant to help people with disabilities.
According to a New Hope nonprofit, it doesn't take much for a person to try to pass off their untrained pet as a service animal. As Delane Cleveland reports, a group of state lawmakers want to change that.
2 weeks ago, New Hope's Can Do Canines held a graduation ceremony. It was the final step of a 2-year process that pairs trained service dogs with people who have disabilities. That was a happy celebration.
It's a huge issue.
But Wednesday at the state capitol,
I have a disability, and it wasn't a choice that I got to bring my dog with. It's a necessity.
People such as Beth Cantor of Plymouth, who's had a Can Do Canine service dog for 6 years due to multiple sclerosis, said there are people out there who abuse the privilege.
People want to bring their dog with in purses and in strollers, and it's easy for them to do now. The internet, I looked up today, you could buy a vest for $6.
She's referring to vests sold online, which anyone can purchase, that indicate your pet is a service dog.
This is a huge problem for people with disabilities. Having fake dogs enter public places distracts our dogs, causes them to not be able to do their jobs properly.
Now, state lawmakers have introduced legislation that would punish people who misrepresent their dogs as a service dog.
This legislation would make impersonating a service animal a petty misdemeanor. for the first offense and a misdemeanor for subsequent offenses.
DFL Senator Ann Rust of New Hope is one of the lawmakers lending her support.
We're really trying to send a message to the public that it's going to be a crime if they do that.
What happens next remains to be seen.
And it's sad that the wants of people interfere with the need of my ability to really function in this world.
At the Capitol, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
If the legislation is passed, it would allow business owners to post a notice saying it is illegal for a person to knowingly misrepresent an animal as a service dog. And business owners would also be trained on questions they can ask to determine whether a dog is, in fact, a service animal.
An update now on a project that will help transform a main retail area in Crystal. Streetscaping construction could begin in May along a quarter-mile stretch of Bass Lake Row across from Becker Park. The two-block area has about a dozen different businesses, but the streetscaping hasn't been updated since the 1980s. The city of Crystal is proposing a $650,000 upgrade that would add 12 spaces of on-street parallel parking, reconstruct the sidewalk, add new landscaping, and make LED lighting upgrades. It's a welcome change for business owner Steve NEGAARD.
Every year we seem to be growing. It would be nice to have a little bit more accelerated growth, but I think sometimes the image of the neighborhood kind of run down, beat up, with a infusion of capital will help dramatically. I think it'll clean up the area, especially lighting.
We're going to fix the public realm. We're going to fix the part that is our responsibility. And then the hope is that the private sector will respond with investments in all of these businesses and storefronts over time to kind of transform this area. I mean, it really is like an old-fashioned main street. It looks worn out and it needs some help.
The bids will be opened up for the project at the end of this month. And in 2019, Crystal's Becker Park is slated for a complete overhaul.
But nobody runs for city council to get rich. Salaries prove that, but the city of Robbinsdale wants to make sure council salaries are keeping up with its neighbors. The Robbinsdale City Council approved a 2.5% salary increase for each of the next 2 years. Starting in 2019, a council member's salary will be about $8,600, with the mayor's salary 25% higher than that. Robbinsdale council salaries are below the neighboring cities of Golden Valley, New Hope, and Brooklyn Center, where the average salary is $9,400 for council members and more than $12,000 for mayor. Councilmember Dan Rogan says the goal is not to increase their own salaries, but to help attract future candidates to account for cost of living increases and time demands of the position.
Members of the community brought family, friends, and their appetites to an annual event to help curb hunger. Robbinsdale area schools hosted a soup fundraiser, with the key being all these ceramic bowls. Volunteers molded, sculpted, painted, and fired close to 800 bowls, which people can buy then to raise money for local food shelves. The empty bowl is a reminder that there is hunger in the community, and the idea has caught on.
It is amazing how supportive the people have been and the sponsors, and it has grown every year. We had to go from one school to another school to finally Cooper, because we needed to be able to get 500 people in the cafeteria at one time.
The goal this year was to raise $25,000, and they may get there. Last year, the event raised almost $20,000, and this year the number of sponsors increased. Still ahead, an Armstrong senior who hopes to one day inspire future generations.
Plus, the boys' basketball playoffs tip up for some local teams. We'll have the highlights.
But first, still cooler than average temperatures, a high of 30 on Thursday. This week's Standout Student believes in giving back to her community.
Now, this Armstrong High School senior plans to be a teacher one day and inspire the next generation. Reporter Shannon Slatton introduces us to Erica Hutchison Allen, today's Standout Student.
Erica Hutchison Allen is a high school senior, so that makes her a part of what the New York Times calls Generation Z. It's the generation after millennials, a generation known for having a savvy use of technology and a forward-looking, socially conscious mindset.
I'm really committed to my community and giving back.
Erica shows that dedication in class as well as in volunteer roles, giving back to her school and church.
To give back to your community, It's like giving back to like the hand that helped you.
As a student at Armstrong High School, she participated in a civil rights trip through the Deep South that helped give her perspective and purpose.
Everyone knows who they are because once you know who you are, you're bound to do way greater things.
Erica says much of her determination comes from skills she sharpened in the college readiness program AVID and the teacher who taught it.
Mainly because Mr. Ginter, my AVID teacher, he has been a tremendous help as far as like building my character and getting my mindset on college.
She's driven, so through it all she's learned how to figure out that life is going to be filled with struggles, but I got to get through them too.
Erica wants to pass on that education too and help other students prepare for college and beyond.
I would love to be a teacher because I feel like I could be a motivation and a light for other students. And more specifically, an AVID teacher.
She'd be great. She'd be outstanding. Teaching's a lot of it's relational. So she relates well to people, and she'd have a lot to give.
In Plymouth, Shannon Slatton, CCX News.
Still ahead, the young students who could wind up being mayor of Maple Grove someday.
But first, the Cooper and Park Center girls basketball teams get set for their respective section finals. Jay Wilcox is in next.
I'm Jay Wilcox with sports. 6 local girls basketball teams will play in section finals this week. That includes the Cooper Hawks, who will attempt to qualify for the state tournament for the first time ever. The Hawks are in their first season in Class 3A, and they have advanced to the Section 6 title game. Cooper is 25-2 and ranked #1 in the state. They handled Orono 76-39 in the semifinal round Saturday. Next up, Benilde St. Margaret's, a team they beat twice during the regular season. They know it's a chance to make history in the program against a familiar foe.
I think definitely pros and cons. We are very familiar with Benilde, but at the same time, they're very familiar with us as well. And you know what they say, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times. So we really got to be focused. I think this game is going to be a big mental challenge for us.
That was our goal coming in, because last year we got conference championship, so it's like now since we got there, we want to up it and get the section championship, and that's really been our goal and what we've been working on since the summertime, really.
Cooper and Benilde tip off at 7 p.m. Thursday night at Chanhassen High School. We'll have highlights Friday at 4 on CCX Sports. Meanwhile, Park Center will shoot for a 5th straight section championship. The Pirates face Roseville for the Section 5 4A title Thursday. Park Center, the 4th seed in the section, knocked off top seed Centennial in overtime in the semifinal Saturday. The Pirates have had some ups and downs this season, but it was the type of performance they hope to see in the postseason. Now the trick is to be just as pumped up for Roseville.
Just working hard every practice and letting everybody know that it's still a big team that we have to play, and we have to be just as confident, just as prepared.
The first thing we talked about is we practice like champions, but you play and you practice like you're the last team in the section, like you're the last team in the conference, and you don't let one win, go to your heads. And our kids are pretty businesslike in that manner. I don't think they've done that. I know coaches sure haven't.
Park Center and Roseville tip off at 7 o'clock Thursday at Anoka High School. You can see tape-delayed coverage of that game on CCX Sports this weekend. 2 local schools from smaller classes kept their state tournament hopes alive on Tuesday night. Heritage Christian Academy in Bloom at Lester Prairie Holy Trinity in the Section 4A semifinals. The Eagles' Annika Simonson drives and passes to Jordan Allen for the baseline jumper. Allen has a big game. Off the inbound pass, Lauren Robbins lets one rip from the wing, but Heritage still trails this one early. The Bulldogs' Emily Williams turns around and hits the jump shot from the free throw line, and Lester Prairie is up by 8. But Heritage closes the first half strong. Simonson spins and banks in 2. She scores 12 points in the game. And a great bounce pass to the block from Simonson to Allen. She follows her own miss to score 2 more of her game-high 21 points. They lead by 10 at halftime. Second half, and Taylor Scott will crash the boards and rebounds the missed 3 to score 2 of her 14 points. Heritage pulls away to win 67-45. They play Mayor Lutheran Friday at Anoka Ramsey for the section title. In Section 5 2A, Maranatha Christian Academy edged Watertown Mayor 80-77 in the semis. Kylie Post and Jacqueline Jarnett combined for 53 points in the win. The Mustangs play Holy Family for the section championship Friday night at St. Cloud State. The boys basketball playoffs tipped off Tuesday night for some local teams. Maple Grove is the top seed in Section 8-4A, and the Crimson played host to Brainerd. Jared Rainey runs the break for Maple Grove, and he finishes for a 13-9 lead. But the Warriors go on a 9-0 run after that. Brandon Berggraf drives and scores for an 18-13 Brainerd lead. Joey Sauer with the block, and it triggers the break, and he scores for a 24-20 Brainerd lead. Mac Wilner with a nice pass inside to Alex Batiste for the basket and foul. Maple Grove trails, though, 27-25 at halftime. Nate Adams gets the defender up and steps in for a jump shot here. He scores 22 to lead Maple Grove. Sauer, though, answers right back with a 3 for the Warriors as this game stays tight all the way. Kyle Dreyer hits a big 3 to give Maple Grove some momentum here. And then next time, Dreyer will drive and dish off to Batiste, and he scores for a 3-point Crimson lead. Maple Grove breaks the press, and Dreyer will score as the Crimson survive with a 53-49 win. They'll play St. Michael Albertville Saturday morning in St. Cloud. In Section 6-4A, Armstrong hosted Minneapolis South in the quarterfinals. Armstrong's Jake Breitbach takes the pass, drives, spins, and banks in 2 of his 15 points for the Falcons. Then they get out in transition. Devin Fry will take it all the way for 2, and it gives Armstrong an 18-6 lead. The Falcons run away with this one early. Isaiah Miller to Breitbach, back to Miller for another easy 2, and they build a 31-6 lead. Armstrong's Brian Tabasi drives from the top of the key and lays in 2. They lead by 23 at halftime. Armstrong routs the Tigers 75-46. The semifinals are Friday. Hopkins earned a first-round bye and plays Armstrong at 5 p.m. at Osseo. The second semifinal at 7 o'clock features Wayzata and St. Louis Park. The Trojans beat Minneapolis Southwest in the quarterfinals. That's all for sports. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jay. Up next, a future generation of mayors.
Some fresh perspective when we come back. Well, finally, if the 2 young people that you're about to meet are any indication, the future of Maple Grove is in pretty good hands.
That's right. Sebastian Serta and Aliyah Jiwa, both of Parnassus Prep Charter School, were winners of a Mayor for a Day essay contest hosted by the League of Minnesota Cities. For 5th grader Sebastian Serta, if he were mayor, he would create a Work Local initiative where residents could take part in everything from creating public green spaces to building a rainwater collection system. 4th grader Aliyah Jiwa mentioned balancing budgets where no one would get paid too much or too little. Both were selected out of more than 400 entries. I think a lot of people could get behind that, right?
Good ideas.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we'll see you back here again Thursday, starting at 4.